All right, you're listening live to episode number 4 of Spirit Notes broadcast. To my right, I have Mr. Carey Fraser and Mr. Kyle Everett. We are part of the Immediate Blues Band out of Stephenville, Texas. And first of all, thanks guys for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. It's
good to be here.
This ought to be fun.
Absolutely.
I've always told people that'll listen that we always have a hell of a time at our practice sessions, and it's always an interesting discussion and conversation when we're all together.
And so, what happens at the tone lab stays at the tone lab.
Yes, sir.
Usually.
So tonight we're going to talk about some music. Immediate Blues has been playing since 2008.
April.
Kyle writes everything down. He has an incredible memory of dates, times, and locations. He keeps a little pad.
I forgot what I did with the notebook. That's the problem.
He has everything written, and we defer to him for meeting notes and band history. So we're going to talk a little music. We're going to talk a little bit of history about how we all came about. We're going to talk a little whiskey. And then we're going to have some fun doing it. So, well, guys, it's been a minute since we played, but we finally played at Greenwood a few weeks ago.
A lot of fun. Time went by really fast.
It really did. I looked down at the watch, and it's like, we're an hour and a half in. I looked at Stacy, and I was like, damn, we need to take a break.
Yeah.
She was like, what time is it? I said, 9:40. So, it just went like that. But we had a great crowd. The energy was awesome.
Very festive. Last day of school.
Last day of school, there was a lot of people just ready to have fun.
Absolutely.
And with COVID and everything else, everybody was just like primed and ready to go. So that's when it's fun. We've played gigs when it's not as lively, and that's not as fun. But anytime we get together and can practice or play out in front of people, it's always a good time. So
we didn't have to break into war pigs.
No war pigs. That's our standard default.
We've given up on this crowd and vice versa.
We bring them back with the war pigs. So anyway, it was a lot of fun, and we got a few things in the works, trying to get back out there again. But so, Kyle, how long have you been playing guitar? That's the obvious question.
Oh, 30s, a little over 30 years, 35 years.
Wow.
Probably. So I wish I'd have started at 8 when my mother said, would you like to take guitar lessons? I went, no, girls take guitar lessons. I could have been, something else than an appraiser today if I'd have listened to her. But so 33, when I got out of college, I started getting serious about it. So
don't let Kyle fool you. He is an incredible lead guitar player.
No, I am a fool though.
He is always bringing it hard and heavy with the Gibson Les Paul or the Fender Telecaster, depending on the night. But tone is always great. Playing's always great. What kind of influences did you have? What were you listening to growing up?
Growing up, it was I had an aversion to country music because my dad would say we got to go work in the fields or move some cattle, and he always had country music on.
Right.
So I associated that with hard labor.
Yeah.
And but there's a lot of great country artists, but I always gravitated towards funk growing up, like the Ohio Players and Cameo.
Oh, yeah.
And a white kid from Stephenville, Texas, was population 7,000.
I didn't know that.
I love funk. I love the Ohio Players and Kool and the Gang, Commodores, but ZZ Top, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Led Zeppelin, of course, and Pat Travers was a big influence on me.
It's funny because I'm doing a wedding in a couple of weeks and DJing some stuff, and the guy that wants the groom, he wants a lot of funk. He wants 80s, 90s, or 70s funk. And so I was on Spotify listening to some stuff, and everything was, just exactly like you said, Ohio Players, James Brown, everything. Everything that was good in music.
George Clinton, Funkadelic, Parliament,
yes,
you know.
Yes. And so, man, I was cooking something up the other day, and I was listening to that, and I was just like grooving, and I was like, this is good music. Yeah. And it's something that I haven't listened to in a while, and man, it's on my playlist now. I'm just like rotation now because that era was. The guitar players. If we're talking guitar, the guitar players are so rhythmic. Jimi Hendrix was one of the first guys in that era too to really do a lot of diverse things with what he was doing as far as playing with different bands coming up before he got his solo career. But he cut his teeth on funk and rhythm and blues and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, those guys have an understanding of music like cordage like no other. And that's what was fun about it.
Yeah.
You listen to that stuff, and I always listen for the guitars.
And I think it transcends modal theory and proper music.
Yeah.
You know, mechanics and all that. Things that they learned and improvised. And then Hendrix on the Chitlin circuit back in the day. He also played for Ike and Tina
Turner. Yep.
I mean, there'll never be another Hendrix, I wouldn't think, but lightning in a bottle.
Never will be. Carey, similar question. What was your influences when you first started picking up the axe?
You know, when I first took lessons, which was on a $60, I believe the brand was K guitar.
K,
yeah.
Those are $1970.
Yeah, those are
Adjusted for inflation.
That's right. So that was about third grade when I started taking guitar lessons there in Big Spring, Texas, and the dude I was taking from was teaching me out of Melbay books.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was learning to read music, and
so you learned "Oh Susanna"
yes,
and Camptown Race is 5 miles long.
right.
Doo-dah, doo-dah.
But I wish I did that for and at the time when I was, you know, this is let's see, I'm 9 then, so this is late 70s, and I'm listening to 8 tracks. I'm loving Elton John, which is not, you know, which is piano based, of course, but I'm also loving Kiss.
Yes.
So probably the most rock I was listening to was Kiss. Had a lot of Kiss. I remember getting an 8-track of Aerosmith Rocks.
Oh yeah.
And you know, there was something magical
Desert
too.
Island.
There's something about not being the age of video at that point, and hearing like a great album like Aerosmith Rocks, and hearing Steven Tyler's voice, and I mean just that music, but not knowing what these guys look like.
Right.
And to at you know in as 3rd, 4th grade, however old I was when I was listening to that, I don't know, it just seemed more dangerous.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah.
And loved it.
If you were listening to Dude Looks Like a Lady at that time, you probably wouldn't have listened to a lot of that.
You're right.
But you didn't know what they looked like. You didn't know what was coming next, so you were just rocking out.
Yeah, absolutely.
My first experience, you know, with some of these guys, you know, back in the day was, you know, the Hit Parade magazine, Metal Edge magazine. You know, you get that, I would flip through that, and it was just like, wow, they look like that, you know, like Metallica and Megadeth, all these guys, Slayer.
Right.
And they were just like, because, you know, MTV wasn't around then even.
No.
The only medium that we had was print, which was one magazine a month.
And you had Don Kirshner's Midnight Special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, oh, I overslept, I missed it. You're like, that's something that these kids today, but they don't appreciate the immediacy and the availability of any media or any format or any type of entertainment on any media they want instantly. You know.
I was listening to the guy talking about. It was Rhett Scholl. He's a guy that has a YouTube. No, it was Rick Beato. Rick Beato's an old guy that played with a lot of, you know, he's friends with tons of guys, you know, Toto and Steve Stevens and all these, you know, great guitar players. And he was talking about back when he was, you know, growing up. Of course, you always hear about you get the record and you move the needle and you learn the part and you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an exact science,
right.
But you got really close to what you were trying to listen to.
Right.
And now you go on YouTube and you figure out how to play a song by somebody's YouTube. You know, here's how you play this song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he said the thing about that is you're getting that guy's version of it without really listening like they did to the actual album and saying, this is how they played it in the studio live, you know, and this is what was recorded on vinyl.
Right.
And that's how they listened and that's how they learned how to play these songs.
Yeah, the analog version of a lot of songs is beyond their grasp. I'm not saying anything negative, but they have no idea that, okay, the original guys that influenced the guy you learned from on YouTube, how did he do that?
Yeah.
Did he have, no, he didn't have any visual aids or any type of visual. He actually had to work it out mechanically and back to that word analog. And those guys were good.
Yeah.
They were good.
You take somebody like Led Zeppelin, like Jimmy Page, you know, he had a style and a sound that was unique to him. Where did he learn it from? He learned it from the old blues guys from the Delta, and that's where blues at that time was dead, it was non-existent. It took a bunch of kids from England to revive the blues, bring it back to the States and say, this is your music, we're just making it rock sounding.
Yeah.
And people loved it, and then it took to the 70s and 80s before we in America appreciated what the founders like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, all these guys were doing back in the 40s and 50s, and that was something that the Rolling Stones did. They brought in Muddy Waters and all these guys to England and said, we want to record with you, because they listened to all these things and they were just like, this is music. And people in America were just like, they were turning the nose at the original stuff that people were copying.
Yeah.
And that's all they did, is they just copied blues music, put it in through a Marshall amplifier, and called it rock and roll.
Yeah. It was a renaissance.
It was a renaissance.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're going to take our first segment and title, What Are You Sipping On?
I know both y'all styles.
All right, tonight's offering is from Wild Turkey 101 in particular on this one.
That's right.
Wild Turkey is 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% barley.
And 100% good.
And 100% good. Jim Russell is a master distiller that has been making this particular version for a long time. Some of the tasty notes that you can find on Wild Turkey 101 are vanilla, caramel corn, peppermint. It's a little bit spicy just because of the rye, but it makes a great cocktail, which is evident tonight in an old-fashioned. For me, it's a daily drinker. It's something that I reach for quite often because it's economical and it is always dependable. So that is what we're drinking tonight, Wild Turkey 101. So, all right.
Word up.
Word up. So, see, we were talking about history of music. So when did y'all first get into the rock scene, rock bands, high school, college?
1974. I went October. I went to the Texas State Fair as a lad. I was 10 years old, and I was on the Midway, looking at I think it was one of the snake ladies or something, or maybe the Ferris wheel. But the smell of corn dogs and candied apples and Leonard Skinner are inseparable to me. So when
smell.
That smell.
When Sweet Home Alabama was blasting through the sound system at
that would have been great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting chill bumps right now. I thought he was saying, "Sweetheart, I'm a gambler." So I went home going, "Sweetheart, I'm a gambler," like for weeks. And I'm like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "I don't know." Don't sing that at church. I'm like, "I would never sing that at church, Mom." Yeah. But anyway, I realized it was off of Second Helping. Skinner.
Right.
I bought the album, big album. Looked at the back, and it listed all the band members and what they played, and it said Stratocaster, Telecaster, Les. I'm like, no, man, they play guitar. What is that, like some kind of French crap? That's not what they're playing. And anyway, I wore that album out so bad.
So who are the guitar players on that?
Gary Rosington.
Yep.
Alan Collins.
Yep.
And King.
Ed King.
Ed King.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes. Ed King played most of the tasty solos on Sweet Home Alabama.
Yes.
But it was those three mainly.
That's awesome.
Leon Wilkerson, drummer wasn't Artemis Pyle, it was somebody else. Then they were the Van Zandt, But
I saw Artemis on, it's probably back in 2016, 15 maybe.
Still got a huge white boy fro, crazy looking.
It was Artie Freed, and they were playing with Warren Haynes and Government Mule. But
Crowd love,
he
man.
brought up Artie and on guitar and Artemis on drums, and Artemis just out there just killing it, man. And I was just like, God, it's so cool, man.
Well, Artemis had a record, a movie about the plane crash pending, and there was a lawsuit between Ronnie Van Zant's widows, that estate, and this production company. I don't think they ever got it worked out, but that would be so good. That happened in '77 when that plane crashed, but I was a huge Leonard Stairs. But that's what corrupted me. And then Aerosmith Rocks, that corrupted me too.
Yeah.
What early Kiss did you listen to, Carey?
I think the first Kiss I had was Alive.
Yeah.
8-track of Alive.
Yeah.
And I had in Big Spring, I'm an only, so I didn't have any siblings, but I had a next door neighbor who, I think Charlie was 6 or 7 years older than me. And he was as close to a big brother as I could have. And so I think that's probably where I first heard Kiss. I remember being in his room that smelled like, adolescent boy feet. And I could totally remember.
That sounds like a raconteur song. Adolescent boy feet.
I could totally
I got adolescent boy feet. Woo, woo.
I remember hearing Detroit Rock City for the first time.
Yeah.
And I remember, too, negotiating with him tenaciously about a poster he had in his room. And I had a little piggy bank. And I had I don't know, $8. Mm-hmm. Again, it was 1977 money.
Yeah. What was the poster?
The poster was Kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Kiss poster.
Was it that live pose, the iconic pose where Ace is doing the...
You remember? It was. It had different insets. There was, I think, one bigger shot in the middle, but it was different shot. I remember there was one of Paul with all the confetti coming down and he's jamming, and anyway, it just looked
awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. So I think he
$8.
talked me up.
It was $8 awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was. So I got it.
That's awesome. My first real, recollection of rock was I had an uncle that brought over some Kiss albums, and Steppenwolf and Destroyer and Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah. Destroyer sonically.
The Destroyer cover, man, was epic when all those girls are up on the steps.
And they're crashing through the.
They're just like that. They just. I was like, I don't know what this is, man, but I want more of it.
Yeah.
And Kiss was one of the first early rock and roll albums that I really had, and it was just like, this is.
I remember. It had. I remember drawing Kiss with my buddies.
Yeah.
With those painted faces were ripe for drawing.
They looked a lot better when they had the face paint on.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they came unmasked, it was like,
Lost your.
Yeah, put that back on, Gene. You're not a very good-looking dude, but I know you've bedded 44,000 women just last year.
According to you.
According to you.
All right, and that brings us to our next segment, which is, what are you listening to?
Very nice.
All right, one of the bands that I have been turned on to lately from our own Dave Cartier is Steel Woods. The Steel Woods are out of Nashville, Tennessee. They've been classified as smart Southern rock, which I don't know what makes smart Southern rock, but anyway, they're kind of a mix of Skinner, Allman Brothers, Chris Stapleton. They do a lot of, kind of that 70s, good Southern rock sound into kind of more some, country-ish type sounds. But Steel Woods, if you don't know them, you need to check them out. They are great. Dave was excited when he called me and he says, you got to check these guys out. I just found out about them. So Steel Woods, I think y'all would both like them out.
Very
awesome.
So check them out.
Steel Woods. How are you spelling that? How are you spelling Steel?
Steel.
Okay.
Yep. Like the iron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're great. Steel Woods. So my first, instrument was drums. And I started playing when I was 4 and 5. But I would always listen to all these albums, and I would try to, I had the albums, and I would, get the needle just right and try to hit the notes that they were hitting on the drums and try to play the beats. But how did you guys, when you were first starting out, did y'all go through that similar experience? Did y'all have, you mentioned Mel Bay, my first guitar I had the Mel Bay book, one of the first beginners, and one of the first songs was, "This isn't very hard to do," and then you played that little medley, and I was just like, "Holy shit, I'm playing guitar."
He's right.
He's right. This isn't very hard to do. But what was one of the first things that y'all started when y'all started playing? What was the first?
I probably tried to cop a lot of the licks of the day, real basic ZZ Top licks or whatever, and I had a little 8-track recorder.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had that tape for for nostalgia reasons, but I just play along with things like that. And then actually, when I was 14, I went and saw Frank Marino in concert at Mahogany Rush, and Mel Bay opened for him.
Mel Bay opened for Frank?
Yes. No, but it would be. It would have been like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Mel Bay." Let's go get a beer, man. But my smash hit, "Camptown Race," is 5 miles long. Don't forget, the doodah is in B flat.
That's right.
Doodah.
I'm not gonna play it. You play it.
In the area of B flat, fellers.
No, but I just tried to play her anywhere I could, and a lot of times I'd get discouraged.
You remember the first band you were in?
The Scuds.
I'm sure you do.
The Scuds.
The Scuds.
It was me. You know Brady Boo Boo.
Yeah.
My cousin Boo Boo.
Yeah.
He would play this bar stool we had with a pad on it with my mother's wooden spoon, and we get in a lot of trouble. And I had a crappy little Hondo guitar with a big muff overdrive.
Oh, you were rocking it.
And a Silvertone amp.
Nice.
Hey, 10-inch
Silvertone
speaker.
to this day is still pretty.
I know.
cool.
I've got one at home. Both.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And
Scuds.
for some reason, it was on that 8-track tape, but it was just like this stuff, and we could have been huge, but we decided to pursue other careers and like being a kid, and but that's first band I was in. But the first band was oh my gosh, I played with some guys in Granbury. It's Keith Stewart, the Failures.
Yeah.
I guess it was, and I was I think I was already in my 30s by then. But,
Keith is a hell of a.
oh, he is. He's
and
the.
Sheila can sing like no other.
It's amazing. I had a lot of fun with him.
Man, I ought to get Keith up here for this.
Dude, you should.
God, that'd be fun.
I don't know. I'll try to get a hold of him.
Yeah.
He is amazing. I have a funny story about meeting him the first time, but I'll digress.
Let's hear it.
Well, Mark Beauregard.
Yeah, man.
He had a store over here on the East South Loop.
Love this store.
And I'd go by there every day, and I go, "I'm sure I'm tired of playing guitar by myself, and I need some action, man." So one day out of the blue, this guy calls me from Granbury. He's since passed away. His name was Tony Gomez. He goes, "Hey, man, my name's Tony Gomez. No, Beauregard." He said, "You looking for some cats to play with, so come on out." He gave me directions to this little obscure house in the middle of nowhere in Somerville County. I go out there. I meet these guys. We're playing. And then, okay, it was kind of cool. Come back. Next day, Tony calls me. "Well, they liked you. Why don't you come back?" So I go out there, and there's this big dude standing there with bald-headed dude. And he's just standing there, and he's plugging into an amp. And he shook my hand. He goes, "Keith Stewart, nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then he starts warming up, and I'm like, so I just turn around and start putting my stuff back in my case. And I'm walking. He goes, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Dude, there's no way I can. You're the real thing. I'm just,
Keith's a badass.
Oh, he's a bad A." And but he was so cool. We went back, and he said, "Yeah, I'll just stay for a while." Then we ended up playing for 4 or 5 years. But I was really glad to be his side man. I learned a lot of stuff from him sonically, how to approach things and solos and music. Oh my gosh, he writes great songs, and I'll give you a shout, dude.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Carey, what was your first band experience?
Had some silly misfires in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to get something going and thought we had a gig and really wasn't a gig.
Right.
And then I continued to play, sort of. I mean, off and on. I went to school in Austin, undergrad, and there was a guy from Big Spring who had moved there to try to give it a go, singer-songwriter stuff.
Right.
And we would go to the Chicago House. This was late 80s, early 90s. We would go on open mic night.
Where was this Chicago House in Austin?
In Austin.
Okay.
It was on, I think it was on 7th, but it was right off of 6th. But we would go on Wednesday open mic night to hear Jimmy LaFave because Jimmy LaFave would host that open mic.
Wow.
Yeah, and he would always play. He and his band would play at 9.
Yeah.
So we would make sure and see that, and then my buddy George would play, and sometimes I played with him. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I truly didn't have the band experience until probably my mid-30s, and I was, as prosecutor, I was negotiating a criminal case with defense attorney at the time, Heath Allen.
Yep.
Not knowing anything about Heath playing around here and playing with Jim and Nancy Easterling. And anyway, and he invited me out to their house.
The Blue Aces.
The Blue Aces. And I went out to Jim and Nancy's and played with them. And, oh man, I loved it.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of this. I mean, playing.
Right. So you're kind of a late
band.
bloomer in the music.
Absolutely.
I ran into Heath at in Dublin at the Red Barrel not too long ago, and he looks at me and you tip your beer to him, and
Yeah.
he did that. And anyway, a little bit later he comes back to me and he's like, "You play music, right?" And I said, "Yeah, a little bit." He says, "Who do you play with?" I said, "Immediate Blues Band, Carey, Fraser." I said, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Yeah, you guys are good." I said, "You play with the Blue Aces?" He's like, "Yeah." And so you kind of
There you go.
You kind of have that little rapport with some of these guys. But Nick was cool, man. He had that, and this is how we first really got together as the Immediate Blues Band.
Yeah.
I think I saw you at Cotton Patch.
That is so rock and roll.
Yes.
I'll have the cornbread and the band.
I think we were leaving, and you were picking up to go, and I was like, "Hey, if you need a drummer," like we started talking music or something.
Yes.
And I don't know how it came about.
Well, because the clock outs.
The clock outs, yes.
Were playing. I think it was
Rock and
Clock Outs?
P.
It was
Rock and
either-
P.
Rock and P.
I think you're right.
I think that was it, and they wanted to. They were needing an opener.
They're like a blues jam that night or something.
Yeah, and I think Wayne Ashley and I were gonna play. We were, and then the night before, see you at Cotton Patch. She said, "You want a drummer?" And I said, "Yeah." And so we just met up at Rock and P.
Never jammed before.
That's
we
right.
get up there and just do a power trio.
That's right.
And I remember Nick. That's how we came up with the Immediate Blues Band name.
That's right.
He was like, "Hey, I need a name," and we were like, "Shit, we don't have a name, and this is our first time to jam." He's like, "I need a name like immediately," and I think you said,
I said, Immediate Blues Band.
Immediate Blues Band.
I said, if you can think of something better, throw it in there. But that's all I got.
And I had wanted to change the name after we kind of got a band going, but everybody kind of knew us as Immediate Blues at that point, so it was just like, it stuck, and it was great. But that's how Immediate Blues came about.
And I'll tell you how it kind of morphed into what it is now. We kind of did a little deal for Come Eat. You remember that? It was at Morgan Mill.
Morgan Mill.
We were government full.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And there was like 19 of us in the band.
Yes.
Well, Dave Carter was in the band, and we played out there that time.
Me and Dave talked about this the other day.
And we were going to play at the Rock and P, and it was in December of 2011, but who's counting? and then Dave had something come up, like a hunting trip. So Wayne said, "I'll do it," and he played on one night's notice and a practice.
Wayne?
Impromptu. I mean, yeah, he showed up. It was me and you, Stacy. Wayne was on the bass.
Yes.
And he did great. I mean, I would have been mortified, petrified to try to do that.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll just do it, sure. But however, I digress. I did play with y'all at Bostock's the first time.
That was your first gig?
Like 30 minutes practice, and
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
And there was probably 5 people there, and Wayne gets up there and he goes, "Oh, how's everybody's finals?" He said, "Is anybody in here?" I said, "Nah, nobody's here. Let's just play."
So 2 things. One, Dave and I were talking about this not too long ago, like a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Man, it was that gig that we almost died at, at the Come Eat the deal, and it was like playing in the field or whatever."
Oh my
Because
God.
Dave and I played with Soulfinger.
Yeah.
And then we did like a government fool, and then we were the backing band for Courtney.
Yeah,
Pepper.
Courtney.
We played 3 sets that day in 100-degree weather.
At least.
And that's when Stacy got the nickname Pearl, because she had
She was serving up a hot lunch behind the stage.
Yeah, and then she came back and finished the song.
And Wade, and there's video of Wade playing his set, one-handed, grabbing a bottle of water and handing it back to her.
And two, the second part of that is we played at the San Angelo Blues Festival, and we presented you with the IBB official shirt.
That was May 14th of 2013. I sold.
You're not making that up.
No,
that's probably real.
it's real.
Yeah,
If
you look it up. It's accurate.
I studied for today's gig, but
That's awesome, man.
That is awesome.
But that was kind of how we started as a group, and then
because Dave Carter he had moved,
he moved,
and I played one other time with you guys at Hollywood and Vine.
which was a great venue.
It was great,
Absolutely.
and that was a great venue.
We played a lot there.
We played a lot there.
Yeah.
They changed ownership. Blackie and them opened
Yeah.
that place up in Walnut Springs.
Yeah, did that.
Things-
That was in 12.
Yeah, Rattlesnake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Terrible load in.
Oh my gosh.
That's a straight up.
Yeah.
No, the worst load in the world is the Rattlesnake Bar in what was that?
Well, that's it.
Yeah. that's
Oh,
what I
okay.
said.
I'm sorry. I drifted on. Yeah, what you said.
Yes.
It's straight up.
But Hollywood and Vine's not an easy gig either because it's
Yeah.
elevated.
Yeah, it's
That's
elevated.
true. Yeah.
So that's been a minute, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But that's what's cool. We all have a history, and I think me, you, and Wayne played some house party of some sort. I remember we were playing on a trailer, and we did. I was on drums, and it was a power trio.
I think that was it. Was it Kyle Masters?
No, that was a little bit earlier than that,
Okay.
and that's kind of how we got.
Well, do you remember the
we got
freestyles?
I don't know.
The freestalls. We played
We got-
another power trio.
We have it recorded.
You were on bass, I was on guitar and vocals, and then our very own Wade Whitehead.
Wade Whitehead.
I've got a recording.
That was
of
at the Ag Texas Dairy thing, something or another.
the Dairy.
We got to play at Birdsong
Dairy Festival.
What
Yeah.
What were y'all called?
freestyles.
Again, it was like, hey
He's
man.
dairy related.
He's like, I need a name, and we're like,
I don't
we don't have a
know.
name. And then he came up with the freestalls.
Manure Lagoon. But no, freestyle, that was fun. And we practiced a little bit, but I think we played Cocaine.
We played about 30
30-minute
30, 45 minutes second.
Yeah, it was cool.
35, 45 minute song set,
Man.
and it was fun.
Yeah.
And there's a recording of that. So it
Gotta
was
bring
it was
back
great.
freestyle.
Yeah.
Manure Lagoon.
I'm
No,
telling
we
you.
don't. No, we don't.
Yeah.
Kyle needs to be on guitar.
The
Wayne
reunion.
can handle the bass. So.
Good times though.
Yeah.
That's the main thing about it. Is like for the IBB to me, it's just camaraderie and friendship. And
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's all about the music, man. But it's all about
Yeah.
the people you love and care for.
So for those of you that don't really know, I mean, like Immediate Blues, we all take our music seriously, but we're not the typical band that you would kind of know and grow to love. It was really just a bunch of weekend warriors. Kyle's an appraiser. Carey has an insurance and a law firm, and I do therapy. Wayne is
Professor.
He's a male
he's a
stripper.
dean now at
He's a dean.
Tarleton.
Dane Wayne.
And
And it's Dane Wayne.
and Wade is a teacher over at Central, and
Wade is a
So-
god amongst kids
yeah. And
of
Stacy's a stay-at-home
30-year generous spread there.
So we're all professional.
She is a
types,
domestic goddess.
but we all have this affinity for music that and my roots are blues and rock and different things, and I mean. You're kind of more of the. When I think of Carey's music, I think of more heady music, more like Ray LaMontagne and stuff that's a little bit more, got a little bit more to it. And Kyle is straight up ZZ Top, Allman Brothers, Skinner, and everybody has their thing. And Wade is like,
He's like Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
I mean, he Coach Ed is like Mr. Metalhead, but
Yeah,
he won't admit it.
yeah.
I just busted you, dude.
And Wayne is like, he's all about, Rush and all these, musical bass savants and Stacy, God love her, man, and she can sing any.
Oh my gosh, her range is incredible.
Yeah.
Stacy has gotten to this different level, and I always just when I'm playing with her, whether it's with IBB or doing acoustic stuff, I just look at her, I'm like, wow.
Well, I've read like a lot of books, and they'll say that even Michael Anthony, after 30 years, would go. he would be playing. He would catch Eddie doing something. He'd go, "Man, that's still great." And you're going, you're even subconsciously, you're going, "That is incredible." I do that with
I do that all the time.
Like, whoa.
I do. I mean, so when we play IGB, I mean, I kind of hold down the rhythm on the guitar. Wayne holds down the bass. Wade holds down some incredible drums. And that's kind of the pocket. And you hear about the pocket, and that's what the pocket is.
And I get to
roam
around.
I get to just listen to you two go at it.
I get to have Mr. Short Attention Span Theater. No,
it's awesome. And that's what's fun about IBB is like I can just be playing the rhythm part and I can just have a grin from ear to ear because I'm hearing what y'all are doing, and then me and Wade and Wayne are kind of cued in on what we're doing, and it's like two forces diametrically opposed but together at the same time. Mm-hmm. Man, it is awesome.
That kind of explains what makes this work so well. I mean, it's always a drama-free zone. Loving the music, loving the laughter. I mean, if you've got a lot of both of those, that's magic, and we always do that.
Yeah,
and we always have a good time. And then just like that, I mean, when you're describing the way you're feeling about when we're playing and you're waving off a solo, because I'm looking at
you.
We're
doing that. And he's like,
nope. Waving it off.
Nope, I'm just playing the rhythm.
Yeah. It's very generous.
Yeah, because I'm loving what I'm hearing, and when me and Stacy play together, I will take solos on occasion, but it's because I have to fill in a part of a song or something. But when we're all three playing, and we're 3 guitar players in a band can get cumbersome, but it's not with us, because I got a tone that is kind of mid-level. And then you've got the tone that is just scorching earth.
Tonally, we have a really good mix.
And then I always describe your playing as just melodic, like slow hand. I mean, it's just right there, and it's just like. Oh.
You could build a bank building on top of it, or a hospital.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And that's what works, man. There's no egos, there's no discord. It's just having fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
love it.
And Wayne is an incredible bass player.
Yeah,
Wayne is off the charts.
Absolutely.
And Wade will do some, some feels, and I just look at him like.
And he's like, he looks like he's bored. Like,
yeah,
I'm so bored. I'm like,
and then
dude,
you just see this little grin on him.
Yeah, he'll look like.
Yeah. I love the fills, and I'm with you on listening as much as I can.
Yeah.
To what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
And it's always a.
It rounds out the sound.
Absolutely.
All right, and rounding out the sound is a band that is For the Record that we will be introducing next.
For the Record.
And For the Record this evening is...
In the Garden of Eden?
In the Garden
of Eden.
Oh.
Iron Butterfly. I picked this up in Golden, Colorado a few months back when I was up there at this little rummage store. And it didn't have a price on it. And so they had to call the lady that had the little booth. And she said, $10. And so I was like, sold. And so Iron Butterfly was just a 60s groove band. They had this sound kind of like Steppenwolf.
Heavy.
Yeah, really cool.
Big
really
heavy.
trippy. Iron Butterfly's album 1968 was when it was released. Of course, the biggest thing was Indigada da Vida. It covers the B-side, and it's 17 minutes long. There's about an 8-minute solo of drums, and it's just freaking awesome. We were listening to it earlier. And it's just really trippy, blues, funk, rock, and it's just greatness. That's kind of what we do. We take a lot of modern songs like Royals, and we turn them into our own creation, which is usually blues, funk, rock.
I give all the credit to Sam on that.
Absolutely.
You come up with the most incredible
Yeah.
versions of these songs, and I would never in a million years go, nah.
Well, you and Stacy.
Yeah, y'all are,
doing
it's
it, and
incredible.
That helps us a bunch.
And that's what's cool about what we do is like, we do some things that are not normally, known as far as like the Lizzo song that we did, and stuff like that. But we try to do stuff that is modern, but yet we put our own spin on it, and that's what's fun about what we do is we just make it our own creation. And so whenever we get together, I tell people all the time, if we were practicing all the time, we could. There's no limit to what we can do, but we don't practice a whole lot. So we get together and we get one song and we're like, so what about this? And then we start playing it and it's like, first take usually.
And then someone says Merkin and we're off we forget. But it's fun.
It is fun.
And that's what's cool about what we do is like we all have fun with it, but when we introduce a new song, when we do practice, it's always like, boom, everybody's on it. And that's what's great about playing with great musicians is you don't have to spend the time talking about, the structure is this and you have to do this. We just feel it and we play it.
I think if you try to learn a song, especially cover tunes, but originals are different. If you've got them ingrained in your system and then all of a sudden you're a half a beat off, then you go, oh crap, then that instant you think it's like a linear, it keeps throwing you off.
Yep.
And you never recover, and then you're like, I'll just forget it. We just try to roll with it and have a good time, let it be smooth.
And that's what's cool about playing live. You hear an artist play a song live, it may be slightly different from the recording because they're feeling something. And that's what we always do is we play and we never play the same thing twice. We may practice it a certain way, but once it comes gig time, man, it's just whatever feels right.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about what we do.
Yeah.
We take music seriously, but we don't take it too seriously where we don't have fun with it.
Absolutely.
So that's what's cool.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So COVID kind of put a damper on things. We didn't play, we didn't practice, but we did do a few things remotely. Did you guys miss it? Did you play a whole lot? Did you practice a whole lot? Were you noodling around, or what did y'all do during the COVID era?
I missed it. I absolutely missed it. But I guess I'm perhaps the worst about just playing on my own. I have a 14-year-old daughter who's very musically inclined, and I'm kind of.
That's the understatement of the decade.
Well, thank you. I kind of, I'm interested in whatever she's cooking up, and I need to play more, and so I just didn't. I didn't play hardly at all. But I missed us playing. Yeah. Absolutely, and you're right.
Absolutely.
When we got to play at the Greenwood, and having the crowd we had, and that is awesome. That is so much fun.
So let me stop you there, and let me just brag a little bit on Karis. So Karis is Carey's daughter. When you see her, she's 14?
She's 14.
She's a 14-year-old girl. And I had the distinct pleasure of going over to Carey's house and recording her onto a recorded track that a Nashville producer that worked with some heavy hitters put together some originals of hers for her to sing over. And I recorded her singing over these tracks. And the first note that I heard her sing, I was just like, I put the headphones on her and I was just like.
If you weren't looking at her singing, you would be going, who is this person singing?
That's very kind.
So,
oh my
Nice.
gosh.
Karis is
true.
I mean, the ceiling is not even close to where she's at right now. And so speak a little bit about what she's doing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so she's actually, I don't know, if we hadn't had the pandemic, which of course everyone wishes we hadn't had, but she did a little lemonade out of lemons there and started writing some songs, and so I don't know, she's got some originals. She's probably got 7, 8, 9 originals, and then through a vocal teacher who was here and then has since moved to New York City, and she's kept working with her, but then she got introduced to this Nashville producer who is just the nicest guy in the world and is so kind to her. and so they've continued to work together, and you know, their work together includes developing her originals, and then also her learning the software that he works on, which she now has, and so it's kind of learning some production as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I just love it. I mean, she's really got a knack for it, but she's not, even at 14, she's not trying to put all eggs in that basket at all. It's in the way we talk to her about it, and I think the way she feels about it is just, you know, give it your all, see where it goes, see what happens, and continue to do your other
and on
things.
top of that, she's still a really cool 14-year-old
Well,
girl.
thank you.
You know, just a really cool chick.
Well,
And when
likewise,
she played with us. Well, thank you, but when she played with us at 4th of July in Fort Worth,
The Woodshed.
we had people going,
I got video of it, and she
Oh
played.
my
What was that
gosh.
song she played with us?
we did
welcome table,
Yeah, we did Welcome Table, and we also did
people get ready.
People Get Ready.
Yes.
And I
We should do that song now.
I didn't even
We should
play.
do.
I
We
just turned my
should.
guitar off and I just recorded, and I saw that not very long ago, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
She tore it up.
Man, that place is fun.
And
But-
you're kind. Thank you for your kind words, and I'd say the same thing about y'all's kids. I mean,
Well, I mean, it's just it's cool to see
Awesome.
somebody at that age doing what she's doing. She's also doing some stuff with is it Casa Mañana that she's doing it with?
no, it's now it's called the thing. She's working with Kids Who Care.
Kids Who Care.
Yeah, she for a couple of years she did Travis Avenue Fine Arts in Fort Worth, but now it's a thing called Kids Who Care, and she's going to go to some summer camps with them, and she's gonna get to work with some cool artists doing that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, Kyle, your kids and I have a deep-rooted history of music as well.
Yes.
2000.
Interesting story, yes.
2019 was the last ACL we went to with
Oh, I thought we were going way back, like to 2014 when we went and saw
Shaky Grace.
Shaky Grace.
I thoroughly enjoyed the time I spent with you girls when we
Good.
were with, geeking out on Billie Eilish.
Oh my gosh, that was y'all's thing totally. I'm like, whatever, go see it.
I texted the girls and I was like, so I was getting a chicken cone, which is infamous at ACL.
Oh, you gotta have one.
You gotta
I'll
have a
tell you.
chicken cone. And
Nice
I was in
too.
line and I was talking to a mom and a 14-year-old girl, and they're like, Billie Eilish is having a Q&A over at the BMI studio in an hour. And I was like, pardon me, did you just say that she's having a Q&A? And she's like, yes. And so me and this 14-year-old girl were having this conversation, and the mom was like, do you have somebody that's here? And I was like, I mean, I'm a big Billie fan, but I have a friend.
I just adopted
teenage
2
daughters.
kids.
And so I texted the girls. I was like, meet me at the BMI stage. We're going to see Billie.
Yeah.
And so we went over there, and it was a Q&A, and then we went to go see, actually, Billie, and we were so far away from each other. I saw him, and I was like, giving him the cues, like, I'm over here, but
Yeah.
we couldn't get to each other. But, man, that was fun. And that was, one of many experiences I had with you girls at ACL.
Yeah, ACL is a good thing. We bought tickets for this coming second weekend. I hope it'll be fine. But
Cool.
my oldest daughter Kylie was really into it, like 3-day, every band till the very end. And then I thought, well, okay, ACL's been called off for a while. She went to college. I can take a break. Then my other daughter Casey's like, no, we need to go to ACL. So now we're another 3-day deal again. So,
Nice. And you got tickets?
yes, we bought tickets for the second weekend.
Awesome.
Casey is, she's older beyond her years, too.
60. She was born 60 years old. Already figured out she doesn't like very many people.
She's very pragmatic. She's very
wise soul.
She likes this and she likes that, and she's not going to differentiate.
Very
She's a
diverse,
great artist.
musically very diverse, really, really good in art, and
Beautiful.
she has a wide range of musical taste.
Yeah.
Really into some stuff called lo-fi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and she's made some videos of some rather obscure, like she'll take a snippet of a SpongeBob cartoon and play some lo-fi sad piano with it, and it's like,
Yeah.
that was really clever.
Karis introduced me to lo-fi.
Yeah, I kind of like me some lo-fi. Makes me feel like, it puts me in the elevator kind of mood.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about being at our age and having kids that are experiencing music that normally we wouldn't be gravitated towards, but we're experiencing this stuff secondhand through them, and it's like, I tell my kids all the time, I said, what are y'all listening to, or what are you into? And my daughter's into more punk and grunge, and my son's into more, he's all over the map, and it's just like I like to see what they're into right at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to be a part of what they are into.
Well, I have to say, when I think of, just trying not to be so damn closed-minded about new music.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, Karis helps me in that regard. She's got a wide variety of things she's listening to, and that absolutely helps me. But it also helps me to think of you, Sam, because I think perhaps out of all of us, you have remained extremely open-minded.
Very, very diverse.
And I know your kids have helped you with that. But still, you do that, and you let yourself be exposed to all kinds of music.
Most 45-year-old men wouldn't listen to Billie Eilish, but I freaking love it. So,
yeah, and not in a creepy way.
Not in a creepy way, just a more of a musical
Well,
sense.
define creepy. Who said that?
Pushing back 15-year-old girls to get up to the front of the stage and we're like, okay, I'm gonna be that guy, and I don't give a damn.
That's right.
But I'll tell you what, though, we did have a really cool thing when we went to. It was you, me, and Kylie Joe and Jake, and I think they were. I mean, what year was that? That was 20. They were probably sophomores.
Wait a minute, you don't know the year?
2015. It was December 27th.
You're just being
2 days after Christmas.
toy.
We went and saw Shaky Graves and Robert Ellis. I have no idea. We VIP'd it.
Yeah.
And we went to the Kessler.
Yep.
And I had no idea what to expect. And we sat at a little table, and it seemed like Shaky Graves was right there in that recline. I mean, just boom, right there.
Right.
And I was blown away by this guy. Like, I was having a Chris Cornell kind of spiritual, like,
yeah.
He was so freaking good.
Right.
And then the second band was like, we blew him.
I think we bailed because
2 songs. I mean, he was just that nasally country, and he had a Joe Altabarber playing bass for him.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd taken a picture of that. Anyway.
I think we heard Shaky was in the foyer of the Kessler.
I have a picture of him and Kylie. He's got his arm around her. There's a photo of him, and it's really cool.
Cool.
I think we bailed and we went to the foyer and we were just hanging out with Shaky.
Very accessible guy. He was just so unassuming, and my
awesome.
God, I've never seen talent like that. As far as so many things going on at once. The little suitcase he was playing with the bass kick drum, and I don't think he had tambourines between his legs. He was doing that, like a one-man band, but he was playing some crazy runs on an open-tuned acoustic and singing lyrics, and he had that look like he was possessed. And he was staring off into space, and these songs were like, you listen to them on the CD, you're
and
like,
they were very smartly written,
clever, and he's an actor too. And
intelligent,
great stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Then we went back and saw him, and he had a full band.
Yeah. David Ramirez opened for him. That time.
Yeah.
And Dave was great, and I bought I've got 2 albums of his downstairs, but Dave was great, and then Shaky comes out with full band, and we sat at the top that time.
Yeah.
And we were looking down, and
Which wasn't too bad.
It wasn't bad at all.
And then Ian Moore, we sat on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
But before we went to Ian Moore, we went over to that little hamburger stop, and then we bought that house behind the Kessler.
That's
I
right.
remember buying that. We got to do something about that.
We had a banker in our midst, so we were able to finance, pretty easily.
Well, I got a letter from this. Anyway, we owe some money on it. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about that later. I just told my wife, we just bought a house. And she's like, what? I'm like, never mind.
The Kessler is a venue that is so cool. I mean,
Super
it's so
cool.
retro,
It's an old theater.
Yeah.
Smaller than the Granada, but great.
Will Rogers owned that originally, and they were playing old, no vocals, no nothing musicals back in the day. And then whenever they, it renovated later in the years, I think it's 2009 when they renovated it, they brought back all the, the old lights, with all the fluorescence, and then they just made it feel like it was out of 1948 again,
Cool.
and that was awesome.
Yeah, that's old Dallas.
Ian Moore
That's
was
old
great.
Cliff.
Yeah.
That's old school Dallas.
You take a deep breath and you get down on that side of town because it's South Oak Cliff. North Oak Cliff is the next street over, and that's kind of a
Well, once you get
A
in there,
big
everybody kind of
place.
leaves you alone. They
Yeah.
just let you do your thing.
We ate at that burger place that time, but
Mm-hmm.
the time when we saw Shaky, we ate at that little kind of hipster place, and it was great, a gastropub, and it was awesome. But
Yeah, my beard grew like instantly.
yeah, I think he had a goatee by the end of the
I
night.
had painted fingernails.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, flannel on.
What happened?
So that was fun. So, what do you guys want as far as future endeavors, as far as IDB, as far as your own creation? Y'all have anything in the works as far as what you want to see in the future?
I really dig our schedule that we have. I wish we could play a little more, but then pragmatically you think, well, how many gigs do we? But I really like our schedule, and I don't really create. I can't write music. I've never been able to. I've recorded some stuff, but I don't really have a basis where I've created a song, per se. But I just want to maintain, and I'll fight to maintain the camaraderie of the six of us, because it's a big part of stability, just in your daily walk. If you don't have those friends and that thing to look forward to,
Right.
you can kind of get a little bit sullen. But I just really enjoy it. And now that the China virus is over with, China, Wuhan is sort of going on the wayside. Maybe things will start opening up again. But I will admit, my favorite place to play live is the Greenwood.
Yeah, it's always fun.
And it really is a great place to play.
Jan and Julie and the guys over there are just always accommodating.
They're always cool.
fun.
Absolutely.
And
That was just confirmed this last time we played.
yeah.
It was great.
So, Carey, what do you feel for the future? What do you want to do? What do you want to see?
I guess I would just second Kyle's emotion. Just keep this rolling. I don't see a reason why it shouldn't keep rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Like him, I value the camaraderie, the time spent. Like I said, getting to play music, laughing our ass off at times, and but those together in not too infrequent doses is the best medicine always. And then otherwise for me musically, I'm excited to see what Karis does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we all are.
That is so cool.
So
I think we're all ready to lift her up and say, "This is part of it."
I remember one time she was in my garage one time. I remember one time I went up to her and I said, "Are you going to remember me when you're big, huge, famous?" She goes, "Of course I will." I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to hold you to that."
And I think I've told you before. I think, man, I can see her on Broadway. Like that's the type of envisioning that I have for her because she's got that talent. We went and my daughter and I saw School of Rock on Broadway, and the guy comes out at the very beginning and he's given a little bit of a history of the production, and he says, "Now these guys are actually playing these instruments, singing these songs, so give them the due respect that they deserve." And then they come out and they do this whole production of the entire the movie in a condensed version, and they're killing it. And Taz, the little dude on the guitar, at that time he was probably 12, 13. I'm just like, he's playing a flying V, white flying V. I'm just like, I can't do anything he can do. And he's playing and he's shredding, and he's just like, and I'm just like, wow. I was just blown away.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I could see Karis doing that very easily because she's got that kind of talent.
Yeah, I could also see her doing something very obscure and very prominent and very awesome. Like not for the masses, if she wants to, but something very, very, profound and heartfelt
Well, that's
and deep.
Well, thanks.
Very deep.
All right.
Plus, she's been in my garage.
And the Tone Lab is what we call Kyle's
The
garage.
Secret Tone Lab, yeah.
The Secret Tone
It's
Lab.
awesome.
Guitar Center Selden.
Thank God for the.
And yeah, we were all just so eternally grateful for that practice space that we have. And anytime we get to the Tone Lab, it's always a fun time. It's posters all over the walls and ceilings,
awesome.
and the lights.
As appearing in Guitar World magazine.
Tell us about that.
Well, okay. In February of 2010, I had my knee replaced.
Yes.
So I was laid up for a while. And in my current state of, we'll call it stupor, relaxation. Convalescence, this is a better word. I decided to start printing out pictures of bands off this website called fmsomething.com. I don't know. And so I printed all these pictures out and I was putting them on the ceiling, and my wife came in and goes, well, we're out of toner at the office. I need to order some toner. So it was like $1,400. And I'm like, she goes, what have you been spending on what have you been printing? I'm like, nothing. And she goes, anyway, I printed like $1,400 worth of pictures. And I put them on my ceiling. So I went from there to just all the Guitar World magazines I had, cut the covers off, put them up there, and
It was more than your knee replacement.
Almost. And over time, I thought there's a article or there's a section in Guitar World magazine called Defenders of the Faith, and I'll look at it every now and then.
Which is a great
indication. It's all these old farts, like age 54, Gear I Most Want, Marshall Stagg, or what do you listen to now? What are you playing? And I thought, why not? I'm gonna try. So I sent all these photos in there, and I wrote this little article about. This is Secret Tone Lab, and I even got something from Andy Alador. I love Andy. He would be one of my 4 guys to go to lunch with of everybody that ever lived. I love that guy. He even wrote me a little note on a CD that I ordered from him.
Really?
It's on the wall. And one day, just out of clear blue, I got a Guitar World magazine in my mailbox, and I went, hey, I wonder if I'm in there. And I went, holy crap, I'm in there. So
there you go.
I made the Defenders of the Faith.
That is so
kind of neat.
Absolutely.
What's the 8-track that you have on your wall?
The 8-track I have on my wall is an 8-track that my mother put together a little keepsake box of things for me and my sister both. And in this box that I opened up was an 8-track tape of the best live album ever recorded, bar none, hands down, UFO, Strangers in the Night.
Yes.
Nice. Greatest thing ever.
What's his name? Uli?
Michael Schenker was. No, Uli was the Scorpions.
Okay.
This is UFO. Uli, the other guitar player in Scorpions is Rudolph Schenker.
Okay.
You're getting mixed up, Si.
Oh, you have a Schenker. I have 2, Michael and Rudy.
The Macaulay Schenker group was another spin-off.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But anyway, this four group, there's a great scene.
Macaulay Culkin.
I read a lot of rock band biographies and things on Kindle, and I was reading this book about UFO called No Place to Run.
Right.
And it said that the drummer for UFO, Charlie Parker, lives in Granbury. And I'm like, no way. Andy Parker, my bad. Charlie Parker's the 2.5 Men guy, sorry. Yes. Andy Parker. And so I got, as a real estate appraiser, I kind of know how to look up people, and I traced him down to an address, and I sent this.
In Granbury? In
Granbury, Texas. I sent this 8-track to him saying, I love you guys, blah, blah, blah. I said, this is my mother left to me in 1978, 8-track UFO. I said, I promise you I will not come to your house. I'm too old to be a stalker. And I thought he'd go, yeah, what? Well, he wrote me, like 2 days later, he sent it back to me with this. He sent me stickers and this, hey, thanks for being a fan. And so I got it, I put it in a frame.
Yeah.
I was just totally blown away. I was going to get that metal show guy, what's his name? The guy that does that metal show.
Yeah.
I was going to send it to him. Please sign this because this is his favorite live album too. Oh. And Carey said, "Don't do it. You'll never get it back." Yeah, but it's in the Tone Lab. Nice. I was pleasantly surprised. I've always had a reticence about approaching people that I admire that are famous because if they're a dick, I'm like, "Oh man, he was a dick." So now what am I going to do? This guy was cool.
Eddie Trunk.
Eddie Trunk.
Yes.
No, Eddie Trunk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eddie has been instrumental in reviving and keeping on the faith going on
the
a lot of
radar.
bands.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been on the forefront for years and years on the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, trying to get certain bands in. And Eddie is he's got a great podcast, and he's always trying to promote people and say these guys need to be in, these guys need to be in, because I mean Chaka Khan, I love Chaka Khan.
Chaka Khan.
But Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I don't know.
Not the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe the R&B.
But Eddie has always been a proponent of all these people kind of coming in and saying that, this is why they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he's been a huge steward of, rock and roll music.
Yeah.
So, rock and roll and Eddie Trunk are synonymous together.
I thought I had a presentable picture of the Tone Lab, but I really don't.
Oh, I've got a few.
There's one right there.
Yeah, let's go.
See, everybody?
Describe it.
It's a
for
secret.
everybody.
It's a secret. Well, there's some
Secret.
guitars
We
and
want people knowing the code.
a lot of Guitar World covers on there, and they're. That's about it.
It's awesome.
We were out there to get some speakers a couple weeks back, me and Jake, and I punched in the code, and he was like, "You know the code?" And I was like, "You got to be in to know the code."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I punched in the code, and he was like, and the gate opens up. He was like, "It's kind of like Disneyland." I was like, "Yeah."
Just you wait.
Yeah, because a dude that's really goofy lives here.
The man behind the curtain comes out.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, so Carey, what else do you have as far as musical knowledge that you want to impart on the rest of us?
Wow, that's a short conversation. Well, let me just say about that. That part of the I'm going to totally avoid your question by saying this. Part of the fun for me in being in this band is that A, I'm the least gearhead out of all of us, and B, I'm the least, even though I love music, as so many of us do, of course. But I'm the least knowledgeable about band lore and etc. And you guys, I mean, I would say no. I mean, Wayne and Wade have their bits of lore and knowledge and whatnot, but especially the two of y'all, I would say.
We're basically warehouses of useless knowledge.
You are
Pretty much.
warehouses of I would say interesting knowledge about music and musicians and I mean Kyle is always reading
Oh yeah.
something about bands
I'm
that I'm interested
I'm
in.
basically Cliff Clavin, if you want to.
Yeah.
Kyle reads a lot of autobiographies of different bands, and
I'm currently
artists.
reading Tesla's bass player's story called "Son of a Milkman" by Brian Wheat.
So you're the guy.
Tesla is a great band. Was a great band. Is a great band. And back in the day, I mean, Love Song and all the songs they played were
Yeah.
just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the lead guitar or lead singer's name at this point, but he is
Jeff Keith
Jeff Keith.
from Sacramento, California.
Man, his range is up there with
Yeah,
Cornell.
still
you know.
yeah.
He's got a great.
He can
great
go all
voice.
over the map. But
I've been listening lately, especially in keeping with my idea of trying to keep my mind open, in addition to whatever Karis brings me. But I've been trying to avail myself of harder stuff that I don't know that I miss that like the stuff on Octane and
Dorothy.
Turbo of Sirius XM.
yeah,
And that the 2000s, 2000 teens and current hard rock of these bands, I just don't really know.
yeah.
But I've been listening to that. And I like
To me, hard rock or rock that we kind of gravitated to kind of ended at about 2002, 2005 maybe. I was listening to White Lion the other day, and I love White Lion. Vito Bratta on the
Vito
guitar
Bratta.
was just he was pulling all the Eddie Van Halen stuff in a different way, and I mean I watched him on their documentary the other day, and he was just like killing it on the guitar, and he's doing all this finger tapping
Yeah.
and everything else, and it's just like damn, he's good. And Steve Vai kind of does that for me, and some of these guys, and they're all out there doing this stuff, and there's so much great stuff, and then it just kind of died a little bit, and I think that's where we're at right now with guitar rock. Is it's kind of made a resurgence, but not really. Everything is so digital and so analog. The analog part is gone, but I think people are starting to revert back to what. The roots. And there's some guitar players out there right now that are just killing it, but they don't have that pop scene, that pop influence to make it big.
I had read that in 2020 that not over time, but there were more guitars sold from March until than ever before. Yeah. And I tried to order a guitar from Sweetwater. I was going to get a Martin. It wasn't a D28. It was a lower end Martin, and the delay was like 8-9 months. And finally, I changed the order. But a friend of mine was going to order her a guitar for Christmas, and everything was out of stock. We finally found a little mini or a Baby Taylor, a left-handed Baby Taylor for her.
Great guitar. But
there was in stock. There was not much inventory, and it was hard to find. Everything had EVH, Eddie Van Halen on it, especially after October, was non-existent. People were buying it and hoarding it, and I had to cancel a couple of orders. I tried to get an EVH flanger.
Yeah. So one of my favorite guitar players of the 80s and 90s era is Jakey Lee. And Jake played...
Named his kid after him, he did.
I love the name Jake. And
Jakey Lopez.
He played EVH when he came back, and he took a 20-year hiatus. And basically, he was non-existent through those 20 years. He put out a couple of solo albums that nobody really...
I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought one of them.
It was great.
Really good.
Jake played EVH, and then he went to Friedman amps, and he plays the Charvel guitars, Friedman amps, but I was watching it. They have a Tone Talk. It's Dave Friedman from Friedman Amplifiers has this podcast with and it's great. And then they had Jakey Lee on there, and he was like, I had this brown sound always when I played with Ozzy into Badlands into his current stuff, which is the Red Dragon Cartel. And
I'm learning stuff right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Badlands is so good.
Badlands.
That guy died from cancer. The lead singer did.
Yeah. And, there's just some great music in that era. But Jake kind of holds that whole thing together of old school blues rock into, this modern, metal edge that is just like, to me, he's probably my favorite guitar player.
You've always maintained that. I mean, you have never.
He was my favorite Ozzy guitar player.
I was gonna say, those Ozzy solos.
Yeah, when he was with Badlands, it was just like they put out 2 albums, and I've got both of them, and it was just
Dusk is one.
I
need to turn you on to that. It's really good.
Nice.
Really good.
Ray Gilliam is the singer that was just.
Yeah, Ray Gilliam.
He was just like Cornell, Chris Cornell.
Yeah,
he had this range that was just like all over. He could just play it and sing it, and it was just like, man, they were just great. But the bands that are coming out now are kind of trying to bring back that sound. But these kids that are out here just listening to 5-second snippets of TikTok and this, that, and the other, they don't get the full gravity of what great music can.
They don't have the attention span.
No, they really don't. And that's why, like one of my favorite guitar players right now is John Mayer. He puts out singles. He doesn't put out a full album because he says the attention span of today's audience can't take a full album. You have to put out single.
And that's unfortunate.
And that is. And we talked about Indigada Vida, Iron Bud Fly earlier. They put out an album that you listen to from the start to the end. And you didn't move that needle to specific songs.
Right.
And that's what's great about, the old stuff. The old stuff on vinyl is...
Concept.
You listen to it start to front, and you listen to it to the end, and then you flip the record, and then you listen to it. Nowadays, the music that is out there is one song cuts that are radio friendly, that are going to get them play, and then they move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
My two favorite things about vinyl is the expense and the inconvenience. No, I love vinyl. I don't have a record player. Casey, my daughter, she's totally into it.
Yeah.
And we've gone to Doc's Records and Tapes over there.
Love Docs. Love Docs.
I can spend 5 days there.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
She loves it.
It is awesome.
I believe when we saw Shaky, we went to that little record store right across the street.
Right across the street.
And we spent time there, and I've got a Doyle Graham Hall album that is from that little, I can't remember the name of the place, but I was just like, oh, this is old school, baby.
Yeah.
Docs, they put on they put on music. They do a live thing like once a month when pre-COVID. Now they're starting to bring that
And
back.
it's a little bitty less than Greenwood stage.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. You know it's loud in there, that concrete building.
Oh,
It's tilt wall.
It's inside.
Yeah,
They
concrete.
play inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got vintage clothing on one side and albums on the other.
And some 8 tracks and some cassettes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I would like to relate one more interesting story about
Go
a
for it.
past concert that we went to. It's this one right here. So Warren Haynes and his band, not Government Mule, they played at the Granada. It was you and me. And I think it had to be Gilly. He goes
Gotta be
everywhere.
Gilly.
Hey, we got to take our historian with us. We went over there. It was in November of I don't remember the year exactly. Well, I'll try. When did Doyle Bramhall die? 'Cause he died a week after we went to that concert.
Yeah.
2012. So we're there at this venue, and the Lee Boys, they play Sacred Steel, and their badass pedal steel player was Roosevelt Collier,
Yes.
And
I follow him on Facebook still.
and the drummer was huge. And it took him like an hour to, whoa, he got up there and he sat on that drums. And he was good, but that venue was so cool because there was hardly anybody there. We stood at the front of the stage, and there wasn't like anybody around, and it was so cool. And then after that show, and they were so good. You went up to you go, hey, can I buy you a beer? He goes, well, I don't drink, man, but you can sure buy me a piece of that pizza. And there's a picture of you and that dude. I think I may still have it, eating a piece of pizza.
Yeah.
And you're like, that was really cool.
Yeah, because we were standing there and we were like right up front because it was like not a lot of people there.
Not a lot of people.
And it was the Warren Haynes band doing his support for his Warren Haynes album.
Yeah.
And the Lee Boys played for him, and this dude's kind of stands next to me, and the audience was pretty predominantly white.
Oh yeah.
And so when I saw this guy up there, and I was like, that's one of the Lee Boys. And I said, hey man, did you just play? He said, yeah man, I'm Roosevelt. I'm like, God, you killed it. It's like, can I buy you a beer or something? And he was like, man, I don't drink, but I'll buy you.
Tell you what, I'll take a piece of that pizza.
So we went up to the foyer, and I bought him some dinner, and we took a picture, and I sent it to you, or we exchanged it, and I was just like,
yeah, you eat at the Granada at your own risk.
yeah.
But
But the Granada is another great venue. That is just.
it's an old movie theater, and it's really. I've seen Government Mule there. I saw Government Mule, and Grace Potter opened up for me with Gilly in No Way. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was April 14th. I don't know the exact date. I just know when we got home around 3 o'clock that morning, we both had to work the next day, and it was. But I was a lot younger, so.
House of Blues is another venue that we frequented.
We need to do that again, y'all. We've seen some really good bands there. We saw Government Mule there.
Yeah. Black Crows.
Black Crows twice. You were with us on one of those.
Yeah, Black Crows.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the times I was down there, and me and Chad were down at the bottom, and we're like,
Oliva.
we've got seats, but we're staying right here because I was on the rail, and once Black Crows start, it starts smelling like skunks, and everybody's blazing.
I think
and I
there was
look
a
up
skunk
and I
problem.
see you guys, and I'm like giving you the peace sign. I'm like, I'm gonna stay right here. And then the second time I saw it with you.
You know, when we saw Government Mule the first time, we saw that dude named Wes Jeans.
West Jeans, yeah.
And he was there, and he 2 years later or whatever, we go back and see him, and he's there again. And he claims he remembered. Oh, I remember y'all. I'm like, whatever, Wes Jeans, liar. But I think he might have. But that was interesting.
Yeah, and that's Warren Haynes is not real known outside of guitar player circles.
Right.
And if you're a guitar player, you know the name Warren Haynes, you know Government Mule, and that's what's cool about seeing those guys is everybody comes out. You know, I met Lance Lopez there. He's a dude out of Dallas that plays blues rock.
Yeah.
He's kind of a, you know, one of those guys like Wes.
And they're really pretty approachable. If you don't,
They
like,
really are.
If they don't think you're trying to scam them, or they're.
Yeah.
Gilly met Warren Haynes, and he said it was just like,
Yeah, kind of like Andy Timmons.
kind of like Timmons.
You know, when I was buying my
Got to play
PRS,
with that dime.
Yes, when I was buying my PRS, I met him at the Guitar Sanctuary in McKinney, and he plays my PRS, and I'm just like, "There's no way I'm gonna make that thing sound
Did you know
like
who
that."
he was?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I figured you did.
Because I've seen him at the Dallas guitar shows several times, and I've seen him, you know,
Yeah.
live a few times, and he played with what was that band? He was
Solinger.
Yes, and then he was with another band, something back in the '80s.
Not Solinger.
He played hair metal, and it was just like, this is fucking Andy Timmons, and he's playing my guitar. My guitar is downstairs, and it will never sound like what he played with, but it was awesome. So that was really cool.
Good times indeed.
Yeah, Chad's another good dude that loves music. And,
Loves music.
Yeah.
you know, he can talk gear with you head to toe. And it's,
Oh, he can kill you on gear. He knows like part numbers. I'm like, wait a minute.
All right. Well, guys, it's been enjoyable. Anything else you want to discuss or talk about for the future?
And it's been fun.
It's been fun.
Thanks for having us.
Just
You
been
bet.
blessed to be able to be a part of y'all, and I mean, really, it's just the greatest thing ever.
Likewise.
I wouldn't like want to know it if I didn't know y'all. I mean, I wouldn't know any difference, but you know, I just really, really fond of our friendship, and you know,
I feel like we're in a
Ditto that.
VH1 behind the music type thing right now.
you know, Wayne was going to do one of those, and I thought that'd be so cool, but he's like, nobody has any time anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wayne and Wade are in that season of life where it's kids,
Right.
and you are too. We and Sam and I aren't so much anymore, but you know, but I wouldn't want to be in a band that would say, "Dude, you got to blow off your family so we can go play this crappy gig for $10 or whatever, like, or even $1 million. You can't miss out on that." So
Yeah.
IBB's always been very pro family and very like, you've got to take care of that.
Yes.
Anytime I get it and I, approach for a gig, I'm always like, I send a text out, group text, and I'm always like, so we got this opportunity.
Who's it?
Who's in?
Yeah.
And I think our next gig is June 30th, or July 30th. Fuzzies in Granbury. And
And y'all are, that was one I said I'm out.
Carey
because
can't
of-
make that one.
Because of Carey's doing something, and
we'll try to carry on.
Yeah, we'll knock it out.
But, that's how we do it. I mean, it's family first and then the music. And I think if you do it that way, you do it the right way.
Absolutely.
As soon as you get your priorities straight, it'll be music first. Dagnabbit.
Jake was here when we played the Greenwood, and that was cool to have.
That was
him.
cool because he could load it and load. Man, he was like picking stuff up and
He
like,
was a roadie like no other, and my daughter was there at that time, and it was cool to have both my kids there. But we're all going to be at that time of cycle of life where we all have our kids at that stage, and it's just so cool. And that's the one thing that I love about IBB is, it's family first, but then we play the music. But the music is something that we all can really gravitate to.
Absolutely.
And I love it. So.
Likewise.
All right, fellers. So that is episode number 4 of Spirit Notes with Kyle Everett, Carey Fraser at the Immediate Blues Band. And we hope you found this segment enjoyable. And we will be playing somewhere close to you live, hopefully. Our next gig, like I said, is in Granbury coming up. And we will be playing when and where we can. So anytime you see us, the IBB moniker is Forefront. We will be here. But please go out and support local live music wherever you may be, whoever it may be. We have a lot of artists that are getting out there post-COVID, and a lot of venues that want to get out there and some music and get it going again. 2021 is wide open, so we are making sure that we are trying to promote any and every artist that is out there in any venue. So, guys, it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sam.
So, enjoyed it.
Thanks for having us, dude.
So, Immediate Blues Band, Carey Fraser, Kyle Everett, and this is Spirit Notes, episode number 4.